Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs and welcome to the BabyLock Ovation Serger Manual. Today what we're going to do is we're going to thread the serger for a cover hem. You can see I have my Ovation sitting in front of me here, and the first thing is the blade lock is this knob right here. When the knife is engaged and it's cutting, the top of the knob says nothing. If you turn it away from you until it locks, it says lock, and notice that the blade goes down. Let me do it again. Watch up here. Okay, watch. I'm going to turn my hand wheel to pop it back up. All right. See how it's up and engaged? Watch what happens when I turn the dial. It actually puts it down for you and keeps it down for you. The next thing we want to do is we want to disengage the upper looper. This is the upper looper. Obviously, if we're going to put this flat table on, we don't want it popping up and down and hitting it. So we're going to disengage this, and the way you do that is you switch this knob from up to down. Okay, so notice nothing happened though. Like when you lock the blade down, it goes down and stays down. To get the upper looper to lock down, you have to turn the hand wheel towards you, and then notice it stays down. Okay, see how it's not moving anymore? All right, so now I've got that in the correct position. The next thing is, right now you can see I have the cutting blade cover on. I'm going to pull that away from me. I'm going to pull it this way, and it comes off. Let me point out too, the way this goes on is the narrow part is the front and the wider part's the back. Notice that there's tabs. The tabs that you're going to stick into the bottom of the door are here, and if you try to stick it in backwards, they don't line up. Okay, so if I try to stick them in this way, I can't because they don't line up. So if you turn it this way so that the narrow part or the front edge of the table is facing you, then they go in very easily. Okay, so now I've got that attached. Another thing that you're going to want to do while we're over in the setting is we want to move the stitch width setting to 3. And basically what that does is it just snugs the knife against the machine so it's not sticking out. So those are the things you're going to do. Now that I've got this attached, I'm just going to go ahead and unattach it because it's easier for you to see while I'm threading, and then I'll put it back on later. But those are the 3 things that you're going to want to do, and those things are all listed on page 10 in your instruction manual. Now I'm going to move to page 15. This is the chain stitch, cover stitch, chain looper tension dial. And then on the opposite side over here, this is the control for the tension on the needles. Okay, so this is what we'll be using. I'm going to move this thread over to the chain looper thread position, and it's the first one on the right side. So as the thread stand swings around to the right on the machine, this far right position is for the cone. So I've got it through my antenna guide, and I've got the cone on correctly. All right, so I'm going to put the thread through the metal guide like this in this hole. See that? And I'm just going to take my tweezers and I'm just going to pull it up and let it drop down. So it drops down straight behind that metal guide. And you can see there's a little bent edge to the guide right there. That's to keep the thread from flipping around to the front. Okay, so see the thread comes up and around. And then what we're going to do actually is we're just going to come up and over the dial. Okay, so I'm going to hold the thread right above the guide and below, and I'm just going to make sure it's in there. I'm going to floss it back and forth. I can feel some tension on the thread, so I know it's in there. All right, so see there's a little guide right here. I'm going to just put the thread through there. The next step is I'm going to switch the machine from serging to threading. and watch what happens. I want you to watch down here. The tubing, the air tube is going to connect to sort of complete the circuit that will allow us to whoosh it through with the air feeding system. I'm going to turn the hand wheel towards me and just watch right over there as the tubing connects. It'll be a snapping sound. Listen. Do you hear that? All right, so now you can see that the pathway to the chain looper is complete, and I can put the tip of my thread, or the end of my thread, into the port labeled C. I'm just going to put it in a little bit. Then this air system is so amazing, you don't have to get that much in to get it to work. So I probably put about 1/4 inch in there. So now I'm looking over here, and unlike my upper and lower loopers when I was threading for a regular overlock stitch, I could see the threads shoot out. I can't see where the chain looper thread went. So the way you find it actually is to open your side door, okay? And in this little basket right here is where the thread collects. So see, there it is. And if you use your thread cutter on the machine, on the end there, it cuts it the perfect length for a tail to leave. Once you've cut it, just put the tail back in that little basket and shut the door. So we really don't want to play with it any more than that. We just want to make sure it's the right length, make sure it's in there, and then we're good to go. Now I'm going to thread the needles. And I just want to tell you, I'm going to be upfront and honest that when I got this machine out and I started playing with it, I had a little bit of a fit with the thread guide in the back of this machine. So I want to be really detailed, and I want to show you carefully how easy it is to thread. All right, so I want to shut this cover, so I'm just going to switch back to serging over here so I can shut the cover, because I want to turn this around to the back so you can see the back. All right, so these are the thread guides for the cover hem. And basically what happens is the thread clicks into the path that goes to the needle that you're going to be using. And we're going to use 2 needles. So I'm going to have chain needle 1, which I'll put right there, and I'm just going to put it up and over the antenna. And we have chain needle 2 right there. Okay, and I'm just going to very slowly show you how this works, and I want you to pay attention to this guide. I think that this guide is an updated piece. It works the same way whether or not you have the one that looks like this, or if you have one that looks a little bit more solid metal. So I'll start with the left needle, chain needle 1, and it's going to go in this path right here. So see what I'm doing? I'm laying it in the path it's going to go. And then as I do that, I'm going to hold it down until it clicks in. Did you hear that? Let me do it again. So I'm in the path. See that? And then I'm going to pull in and towards the right a little bit. Watch. See how it clicked in? And then watch what happens. It ends up in this little half slit right there, and that's where it stays. All right, let me do the one next to it. Again, I'm going to put the thread in the path I'm using, so the middle one, and I'm going to press down into the right a little bit and listen for the click. Do you hear that? That's how you know it's seated in there properly. I'm going to turn this around to the front again. All right, I'm going to open up my covers now so I can show you the rest. Okay, so now these threads, after you've threaded them through the back guide, they go under this clip, over that, and back down. So you're behind that clip, and then you're going to put it up and down. Now they're both right here. And I'm going to leave them off to the side because remember, my needles were actually in the overlock position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my presser foot down. I'm going to go in and just get those needles, loosen both, lefty-loosey. I'm going to lefty-loosey them both, get my needles out. Okay, and then I'm going to tighten up the screws a little bit so they don't pop out. And then I'm going to put the needles in the front in the C1 and C2 position, which is the left and middle. Okay, I have the needle inserted, and remember, we just want to look in the window above the needle to make sure you can see the top of the needle and make sure it's inserted properly, or all the way up. I'm going to tighten that. And the nice thing about the second needle is it goes right in next to the first needle. Okay, so see how it's right next to it and it's right in there? Now I'm just going to tighten that down. Okay, so I've got my cover hem needles, needle 1 and 2 in. All right, so all we have left to do is to thread the needles and put the sewing table back on. I'm going to go ahead and just put that back on. Again, I'm just lining up those tabs with their guides. All right, so in the next video, I'm going to show you how to stitch the cover hem and how to make any fine-tune adjustments to get, you know, the perfect tension. If you have any questions about threading or setting your machine up for a cover hem, please let me know. You can visit my blog at J Stern Designs, or you can post comments below. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you for stitching the cover hem next.